The Mariana Trench is located in the western Pacific Ocean and is well known as the deepest oceanic trench on Earth. Because it is so deep and dark and filled with immense pressure, exploration of the trench has proven to be extremely difficult, but not impossible, which has led to us being able to learn about just a few of the things that live there.
We don't know all of what goes on in this trench, but from the exploration that has been possible, we certainly have found some very strange things, some of which are not found anywhere else on Earth. From some creepy looking fish to humans' garbage to some of the most insane sea creatures I've ever seen, the Marianas Trench is full of things just waiting to be discovered.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have a plastic bag. It is unfortunately no surprise that on one of the deepest dives we as humans have ever been able to accomplish, along with all of the amazing new creatures and never been explored places, there would be none other than a plastic bag. In 2019, Victor Vescovo took a dive into the Challenger Deep, which is the deepest part of the Mariana Trench, which is an unbelievable feat and not an easy task, and he was rewarded by being reminded of human trash. Despite that little finding, Victor broke the record for deepest dive, which is of course amazing for scientific advancements and research. Every time someone manages to do these things that once seemed impossible, we get closer to revealing more of our ocean's mysteries that lay at the deepest points on Earth, which is very, very cool. While it would be amazing if the dives weren't plagued with plastic pollution, at least they were able to also discover a bunch of new crustaceans and give us all a little look into what life looks like in the Mariana Trench.
At number 9 we have the Dumbo octopus. It's an octopus whose favorite Disney movie is Dumbo. Just kidding, that would just be weird. Almost as weird as the real Dumbo octopus. Although that is how it got its name, because it looks like Dumbo. Anyway, 9,800 meters below the surface and found deep in the Marianas Trench, you can find these dopey, kinda cute looking creatures. These creatures go from 8 to 12 inches and swim using their ears. Seems cute and friendly enough, right? Well, surprising for all of us, the Dumbo octopus is actually a predator and can swallow its meals all in one gulp. These kind of octopi also fall under the category of umbrella octopuses because they have webbed tentacles, giving them an umbrella-like shape. Almost like a starfish, but with a massive balloon on its head. Luckily, we're all too big for this dopey looking octopus to feed on us, so if you want to go for a swim and see some, you don't have to worry about them eating you. But I can't guarantee that the other deep sea creatures won't be as small.
In our number 8 spot today, we have comb jellies. Comb jellies are gelatinous creatures that are named for their unique plates of fused cilia, which are called combs. These combs help the jelly move through the water like boat oars, and while other microscopic organisms also have this sort of mechanism, comb jellies are the largest animal with this feature. These combs are also part of the reason that comb jellies are so gorgeous to look at. Rather than bioluminescence, the rainbow light effect that can sometimes be seen on them is from light diffracting off of the combs in all different directions. Many comb jellies have one pair of tentacles, although they appear to have multiple, but that is just caused by their tentacles branching out. I'm saying the word tentacles. These tentacles are used to help them hunt like a sort of fishing line. Aside from this, these jellies don't sting, which is always a good thing. Not that I'm planning on heading into the deep sea anytime soon. In terms of today's list, I'd say these guys are one of the less creepy creatures we've got going on today.
At number 7 we have the deep sea hatchetfish. It got its name because, well, it looks like a silvery swimming hatchet. There are over 40 species of hatchetfish and they can be found at the depths of 5,000 feet. That's just over 1,500 meters. This fish may be tiny, but it does not look that friendly nor welcoming. The deep sea hatchetfish can grow between 2.8 to 12 centimeters long. So while their size and appearance may not be enough to fend off predators, these deep sea fish have evolved to form an ingenious camouflaging technique. They are also like a lot of other deep sea fish because their bodies are bioluminescent, meaning they create their own light and can glow in the dark. Their light shines from their stomachs, but no, they do not have any Care Bear powers in case you were wondering. Revealing a silhouette can be dangerous in the deep ocean because of predators, but luckily for the hatchetfish, it can control its light to match the same light in the water. That's the super cool camouflage technique I was talking about. Man, that could be useful.
In our number 6 spot today, we have the anglerfish. If you've seen Finding Nemo, you might recognize these guys. This bony fish is known for its luminescent horn that is used to lure other fish as prey. There are different kinds of anglerfish, but those who live in the deep sea are referred to as sea devils, which truly does feel fitting. The females are much larger than the males and can reach up to almost 4 feet, while the males can reach up to 5.5 inches, but these little sea devils are able to eat prey up to the same size as itself. That's crazy! Luckily, most anglerfish remain so deep in the ocean that they are not a threat to humans, and even if they did live not quite so deep in the ocean, most humans would just be too big for them to even try to attack. That sure doesn't mean they aren't crazy to look at though. Just to add a little more about how strange these guys are though, these fish reproduce when the male fuses into the female and lives off of her resources until it can produce sperm. That sounds like a nightmare. In our number 5 spot today we have acorn worms. There are a few species of acorn worms, but one in particular finds its home in the deepest points of our seas. These acorn worms can grow up to 3 feet or just under a meter in length, and they often have brightly colored bodies. They have cilia on their underside which are used to glide over the ocean floor, albeit slowly as they travel at about 3 inches per hour. As they move along, they suck the waste from the ocean floor into their gut, and they also constantly leave a trail of feces behind them, which is a nice gross fact for ya. When they are ready to move to a new feeding location, they empty their gut and then they just drift over the bottom, and they do this with the help of an excreted balloon of mucus, so this whole point is just a double whammy of grossness. They can usually be found at depths of around 1,500 to 3,700 meters or 4,900 to 12,100 feet. In our number 4 spot today we have basket stars. Basket stars belong to the same phylum as starfish, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers. They resemble starfish, but they have 5 long, slender, and flexible arms. Each one of the 5 arms also branches out itself repeatedly, with each branch getting thinner, which makes the final branch quite thin and usually curled at the end. The central disc of the basket star where all of the arms come off of is very distinct. While some basket stars have neatly placed arms that look amazing and beautiful, some basket stars look pretty wild and strange. Basket stars move by wiggling their arms around, and they have the ability to curl into a ball when they feel threatened. They also use their arms to catch their prey as they position themselves in the current of the water. They feed on things like krill, small crustaceans, and zooplankton. Surprisingly, these guys do have a mouth, which is located on the bottom side of their disc. In our number 3 spot today we have predatory tunicate. These guys are basically like the Venus flytraps of the deep sea. These invertebrates make their home anchored along the deep sea canyon walls and sea floor as they wait for their meals to drift on by. Like the flytrap, when they catch a piece of prey, their mouth will snap shut until they are finished digesting their meal. These guys start off life looking kind of like tadpoles, and then they swim around until they find a place to land, which they do upside down by secreting an adhesive to keep them in place. From here they undergo a metamorphosis and have an incredibly large change. Despite having to worry about its predators, these guys are also very picky about where they live. They need to make sure the chemicals in the water as well as the temperature of the water are just right, and it's also imperative that they stay in place once they find their spot. If they're removed from the canyon wall, they unfortunately will die. The predatory tunicate may seem a little weird, but one cool thing is that they have been found to be useful in the medical world, and they may even have the potential to help with conditions such as melanoma and leukemia, which is absolutely incredible. In our number 2 spot today we have the deep sea hermit crab. Okay, many of us have seen or heard of a hermit crab before, so at a first thought they aren't the weirdest thing out there, but as it turns out, the deep sea variety is quite interesting. Instead of these guys carrying around empty gastropod shells like the hermit crabs we are used to, these guys instead carry around sea anemones, and it is one of the weirdest looking things I have ever seen. It looks like these crabs are missing a pair of legs, but instead the legs have actually been adapted to hold the anemone in place. I don't know about you guys, but I really think this one looks like some sort of disgusting sea spider that I hope just stays at the deepest depths of the Mariana Trench. No offense to the crab, it's just not my cup of tea. In the number 1 spot today we have the Daikoku seamount. This seamount is located in the Mariana Arc about 325 meters or 1,060 feet below sea level, and and it was found to be hydrothermally active in 2003. In 2014, it was discovered that the submarine volcano was either actively erupting or had been very recently. Along with these discoveries came the realization that this seamount also features a pool of liquid sulfur that was covered in some sort of black coating. This little sulfur cauldron is approximately 4.5 by 3 meters large and is 420 meters deep. There are rising gases like carbon dioxide and hydrogen that are coming out of the pool, and they are moving that black crust that sits on top. The rising gases appear like smoke, but underwater, which is super cool. The really cool thing about this little sulfur lake is that it is almost an anomaly on Earth, and one of the few other sulfur lakes that are known is actually located on Jupiter's moon, Io. While there have been a few other liquid sulfur lakes found on Earth, the one located near this seamount is the most impressive one we have ever found on our planet. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have giant tube worms. These guys were totally unknown to scientists until the discovery of the hydrothermal vents that we talked about last time. Like the vent crabs, these giant tube worms also live off of and thrive in these extreme areas. These giant tube worms feed off of the tiny bacteria that get their energy from the chemicals coming from the vent water. These giant tube worms grow to be around 8 feet or over 2 meters, and they have no mouth or digestive tract. Instead, they rely on those bacteria we just talked about to live inside of them for their food, like a wonderful symbiotic relationship. These guys can best be spotted by their bright red plume, which is used for exchanging compounds with the seawater such as oxygen and carbon dioxide. I could talk about these guys for forever because there's so many interesting facts about them, but I'll end off with just one more, and that is that the outer shell of these worms is made up of a natural substance called chitin, which is also the main component of the exoskeletons of crabs, lobsters, and shrimps. Okay, one more quickly, but I swear it's the last one. These tube worms also have no eyes, but they can sense movements and vibrations, and they will retreat into their protective tubes when they feel threatened. Okay, now I'm actually done. In our number 9 spot today, we have the frogfish. Frogfish are weird looking creatures, but they are also incredible at disguising themselves. They're fairly sedentary fish, and they love to find their home on the seafloor at depths of around 1,000 feet or 300 meters. They range from a few inches to a foot in length, and their colors vary greatly, which is how they're able to blend in with their surroundings so easily. They actually have the ability to change their color if their environment changes, with the process taking somewhere from a few days to a few weeks. While they can glide through the water, they sometimes also use their fins to basically walk along the sea floor. They feed off of things like other fish and invertebrates, and on their heads they have a special modified fin that kind of resembles a fishing rod with bait on it, which they use to lure in their prey. Little does the unsuspecting prey fish know, while it thinks it's about to get a meal, it's about to become the frogfish's meal. Frogfish are able to eat prey that is much larger than themselves, as they have the ability to expand their mouth cavity to 12 times its resting size, which is insane. In our number 8 spot today, we have the deep sea lizardfish. Deep sea lizardfish are a small family of deep water fish who are related to the telescope fish. These guys have flat heads and curved, barbed teeth, and they grow up to 78 centimeters or 31 inches in length, which makes them a pretty moderately sized fish. They prefer to stay at depths of 1,600 meters or 5,200 feet, and they are actually one of the world's deepest living apex predators. These lizardfish are known to eat anything that comes their way, including other fish of their own kind. Despite the lack of light in the depths of the ocean, these guys have large eyes and pupils, and their vision is actually really important for their prey detection, as their well-developed eyes allow them to see any residual or bioluminescent light. Not a lot is known about their reproduction habits, but one thing that is known is that the deep sea lizardfish have both male and female reproductive organs, which is thought to be an adaptation to low population density. In our number 7 spot today, we have the ghost shark. These guys are also commonly referred to as ratfish or spookfish, and their closest living relatives are sharks and rays, but their last common ancestor lived with them around 400 million years ago. Ghost fish were once abundant and diverse, but throughout the years that has changed greatly, and they are now mostly confined to deep water. They prefer to live around 2,600 meters or 8,500 feet deep, and they have elongated bodies with bulky heads. They grow to be around 150 centimeters centimeters or 4.9 feet, and their skeletons are made of cartilage. They don't have scales and instead have smooth skin, and they range in color from black to a sort of brownish gray color. These guys use electroreception to find their prey, which is the ability to perceive natural electric stimuli, and they also have a venomous spine in front of their dorsal fins, which acts as a form of protection for them. In our number 6 spot today, we have the long-tail red snapper. These fish feature a beautiful red color, and they also have very large eyes, which help it make its home in the deep sea. These guys can grow to be 3 feet or 0.9 meters long and 30 pounds. They have a forked tail that grows larger as the fish matures, and sometimes the tips of the tails have a black or white color on the ends. It takes about 4 years for these guys to reach maturity, which is relatively long for the fish world. There are a few species of this kind of fish, and they can be found in many areas of our oceans, and they are considered a delicacy in some places and cultures. It probably isn't the Mariana Trench variety that people are eating, however, as that would be quite a costly and difficult meal to achieve. In our number 5 spot today, we have the benthocodon. We have all seen a jellyfish before, but these deep sea dwellers are unlike any of the ones we usually find. Firstly, they prefer depths of around 2,500 feet or 762 meters, usually right on the sea floor. These guys are actually quite small and compact, with their bell usually measuring just 2 to 3 centimeters in diameter. Despite their small size, however, they still have around 1,500 little wispy tentacles that help propel them through the icy cold depths. These jellies like to chow down on small crustaceans and tiny unicellular organisms, but sometimes their meals are bioluminescent, which is what has led to one of their other unique features on these jellies. This unique feature would be the red color that can be found in part of their bell. Most jellyfish we know of are transparent, and if this was the case for these ones, their bioluminescent meals would be a dead giveaway for the larger hungry predators lurking around the deep sea. This is why the bit of red that they have in their bell is so important to their survival, as it acts as a cover for this blue glow so that they can continue on their merry way throughout the dark depths of the ocean. In our number 4 spot today, we have the tripod fish. When you see these guys, their name totally makes a lot of sense. These deep sea fish have elongated fin rays in the tail as well as 2 in the pelvic fins, which they use to prop themselves up and just basically stand there like their own little built-in tripod. These little fin rays almost appear as antenna-like, and usually while these fish are standing in one spot, they can be seen facing upstream. They don't appear to have any kind of special visual adaptations to help them find food in their low light environment, but that's okay because these guys can find their prey without even seeing it. When these guys are standing on their little tripod, they are also at the perfect height to catch shrimp, tiny fish, and small crustaceans that are swimming by. If the catch isn't as simple as the current bringing the prey right into their mouths, the tripod fish is able to sense the prey with their pectoral fins, which kind of act like hands. Once they feel the prey and realize it's edible, they can use these fins to just knock their meal right into their mouths. This is all why they like to face the current, just to make getting their next meal a little easier. In our number 3 spot today, we have the owlfish. These creepy looking guys are also often referred to as stout black smelt, as they are a species of deep sea smelt, but their owlfish name comes from their extremely large eyes in relation to their body. These eyes are able to capture even the faintest glimmer of light, which isn't the most common occurrence in the deep dark depths of the Mariana Trench, but this is what helps them spot and capture their prey, which are usually small crustaceans and jellies. There truly isn't a ton of interesting information I can find out about these guys other than their huge eyes, but I did find this cool video of one fighting with a black-eyed squid, so here's a little clip of that.
The fish has a few tricks up its sleeve as well. Owlfish have a very quick escape response, and with a flick of their tails, they can dart out of reach of a striking squid.
In our number 2 spot today, we have the telescope octopus. There has been a kind of octopus on every part of this list, so we have got to keep the tradition alive and talk about the weird but interesting telescope octopus. These guys got their name for their unique protruding eyes, which haven't been seen in any other kind of octopus ever before. The difference in their eyes allows them to have better peripheral vision so as to see both their prey and their predators better. Their eyes also rotate, which I'm sure is super helpful to them, but just seems like something I wish I didn't know. These guys don't really hang out on the ocean floor like many other octopuses do, and instead they prefer to just float or dangle in the deepest currents of the ocean. Most octopuses also tend to swim horizontally, but not this guy. He likes to stay vertical, and it's unclear why, but it could perhaps be to make it harder for predators to see its shape. The telescope octopus has nearly transparent skin, and in between each of the 8 tentacles, there's a delicate webbing that fully makes it look like some kind of ghost. Starting off this list at our number 10 spot, we have gigantic amphipods. Amphipods are shrimp-like creatures that are usually less than 10 millimeters or 0.4 inches long. That all changed when these deep-sea dwelling amphipods were located, however, with their massive selves measuring around 28 centimeters long or 11 inches, with the largest one ever found coming in at an insane 33 centimeters or 13 inches long. Like, imagine a shrimp the size of your forearm. These guys are basically the largest amphipods ever recorded, and they've only been found at some of the greatest depths of our oceans. The first specimens of this species were collected at the end of the 19th century, and they are usually found in abyssal plains in both the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, but of course, considering what we are here talking about today, they are also found in the Mariana Trench. Other than their crazy size difference, these guys are a lot like other amphipods, so it's unclear exactly why they're so large. These guys are basically like the Shaq of the amphipod world. In our number 8 spot today, we have the lanternfish. These guys get their name from their bioluminescent abilities, as they have tiny organs called photophores located on their head, underside, and tail. Like many other bioluminescent sea creatures, they use their light to attract their prey, but it is also thought that the lanternfish might use their light to also signal other lanternfish during mating. Apparently, lanternfish are the most common of all deep sea fish, and they play an important role as the prey for other larger deep sea fish. One thing that these fish do, which is unlike any other on this list, is that while during the day they are in the deepest depths of the ocean, during the night they prefer to swim a little closer to the surface in order to feed. It is thought that they do this to follow the path of plankton, which is their main food source. It is also thought that this migration pattern might help them avoid becoming lunch to squid and penguins, which are their main predators. Another interesting thing about them is that different species of lanternfish have been known to almost layer themselves at different depths, which is thought to possibly help reduce competition between species. In our number 7 spot today, we have foraminifera. These guys are giant single-celled organisms that are kind of like oversized amoebas, and they can be found in the sediment on seabeds throughout the world. In 1995, however, when Japanese researchers were able to collect samples of sediment located in the Mariana Trench, they found 432 living ones. I know I made these guys sound really large before, but I just mean large in terms of the single-celled organism world. They're still super tiny, and they are usually found with a hard outer shell, but not the ones found in the trench. These guys have basically found a way to adapt by building their own shells from proteins, organic polymers, and even sand. The ones most commonly found in the Mariana Trench are called xenophyophores, and these guys use the fact that grains of sand are mostly made out of silicon dioxide, which is the main constituent of glass, to their advantage. They basically glue sand from ocean sediments, cast-off shells, and microbial skeletons to make their own kind of pressure-proof shells. So I guess they're the engineers of the deep sea? In our number 6 spot today, we have the football fish. Just another member of the anglerfish family. These guys of course get their name from their football-like shape. The females of this species are the ones who have the bioluminescent lantern on their heads, which lure in their prey for a tasty little snack. Here's where things get really different though. As their little lantern on their heads is swaying back and forth, luring in an unsuspecting fish, once their prey gets close enough, the football fish will then shoot out a bioluminescent liquid. This liquid acts to momentarily blind their prey, which is when the football fish grabs their prey and swallows them whole with their large mouths. That is definitely quite the hunting technique. These guys are similar to other anglerfish, with the females being larger than the males, and they also have a bit of a different shape. In terms of mating, mating, because the depths of the ocean are so dark, the males will bite onto the females until their skin grows together, which is so gross sounding. From here, he is able to fertilize the eggs to produce more little weird looking football fishies.
Coming in at our halfway point at number 5, we have the frilled shark. Remember the puffy shirt from Seinfeld with all of the frills? Well, Jerry looked pretty terrible in it, and this shark looks terrifying in it. Well, with them, not in it, because let's face it, the shark isn't wearing a shirt, but either way, I'm sure it could still make the shirt look cooler than Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, this shark has the body of an eel with the head of probably one of the scariest creatures on Earth. It has 6 frilly gills on the side of its head to no one's surprise, and can measure up to 6 feet in length. That's longer than me. It also has 20 rows of razor-sharp, trident-shaped teeth that will tear right through any flesh it can sink its teeth into. They usually live in waters around 4,000 feet deep, and the odd time humans catch one and bring them to the surface, but please don't do this. 1, because don't go near these crazy things, and 2, because these creatures can't handle life above as they are used to the great underwater pressure. Any brought to the surface will almost die immediately. So remember, frilled sharks are friends, not food. Okay, we have had dragon and demon in the names of some of our underwater creatures today. Can you guess one more that we might haven't have said? No? Well, how about goblin? That's right, coming in at number 4, we have the frilled shark's trusty companion, the goblin shark. If you get one look at these things, you will understand exactly why these things are called goblin sharks. They have a large protruding snout, then underneath that is a protruding jaw of razor-sharp teeth. Honestly, once again, to put it simply, these guys are just straight up ugly and scary. They also aren't the normal gray color that most sharks are. They are instead colored with a pinkish hue. In case these guys aren't scary enough, you will be happy to know that these things grow to be 18 feet in length. But you probably won't ever see one, as they live at depths of 3,000 feet and go deeper the older they get. Other than that, there is not much known about these creatures because of how deep they live, but also because of how freaking scary they are. Yeah, Dewey ain't going anywhere near that thing. And finally, coming in at number 1 spot is sea monsters. Okay. Have sea monsters actually been found in the deep waters of the Mariana Trench? No. But could there be? Absolutely. I know I have gone on and on about how little our oceans have been explored, but one of those specific places in our oceans is the Marianas Trench. It is so deep that no human on Earth can reach its depths fully, and even if they did, they would need an incredibly powerful pressurized submarine. So who the heck knows what else is swimming around at the bottom of our ocean? Starting us off at number 10 is the barrel eye fish. Now this fish isn't that creepy looking, I will admit, but it is a little gross and futuristic looking. Why? Because you can see directly inside its head. Since the Mariana Trench is so deep and dark, how the heck is a fish gonna see where it's going or what's around them? Answer: they're gonna make their own light. The barrel eye fish has a transparent head with 2 barrel-like eyes inside of its head that face upwards. This lets the fish see the silhouettes of its prey. How convenient. Scientists believe that its transparent head allows for the barrel eye fish to collect just a bit more light, which gives this fish just a bit more of an advantage over its deep water competition. The barrel eye fish wasn't even known to humans until 1939, when one was pulled from its underwater home at 2,500 feet below the surface. Although they can't survive past a certain point, as they are too used to the deep underwater pressure. Luckily, scientists now have high-tech underwater rovers that they can use to go learn more about the reproduction and life cycles of these strange fish. At number 9, we have the deep sea dragonfish. Any fish with the name dragon in it is sure to be a sight for sore eyes, literally. This fish has humongous teeth, a pretty ugly face, hashtag sorry not sorry, and is known to be a deep underwater assassin. These fish are 6 inches or 15 centimeters long and live at the depths of 6 to 7,000 feet. Like many of these deep water creatures, the dragonfish also has the highly sought after bioluminescent feature. Beneath its chin dangles a lighted barbell that is used to communicate with other fish, as well as is used for camouflage when need be. Other fish mistaken the light bulb for another smaller fish or even prey of its own, only to be surprised that itself is the prey and that it's way too late. Chomp! Some dragonfish even have gained the ability to glow red. Some believe that the red glow is used to signal its deep water brethren, while others believe it to be a signal of the dragonfish about to pounce. Either way, a glowing red fish sounds terrifying to me no matter how big or small, so I'ma stay in the shallow end. At number 8, we have the deep sea hatchetfish. Why is it called a hatchetfish? Well, imagine if that hatchet in your garage had fins, eyes, gills, and could swim freely around the ocean. Then it would pretty much look like this guy. Or one of these guys, because believe it or not, there are over 40 different species of hatchetfish out there, and I'm sure there is more somewhere. These fish are the same size as the dragonfish, so they aren't that big, but they can be found at depths of 5,000 feet. Be careful though. These guys are also sneaky because they have that highly sought after bioluminescent feature and can camouflage themselves from predators quite easily as well. I mean, we won't see them often because of the depths that they live at, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. I like seeing the hatchet stay where it belongs. In my garage, safely kept away from the water and only taken out when having backyard campfires. And man, oh man, does that sound good right now. Coming in at number 7, we have comb jellies. They have a much more scientific name, but I think comb jellies is much more fun, and if you really care about the scientific name, I'll let you take take a stab at it on your own. Anyway, these crazy light up alien-like fish can come in sizes from a few inches all the way up to 5 feet. Luckily, like their other jellyman cousin, the actual jellyfish, these guys don't have any stingers. But they will attack their own sometimes, so watch out for those underwater MMA matches between these guys. They swim through the ocean by swaying their comb teeth-like tentacles on the side of their body, and they are another sight for sore eyes, really. Just recently, the New York Times found a new way to continue researching these creatures by taking samples of their DNA from a process that is called environmental DNA sampling, where scientists collect snippets of DNA from fallen hair, skin, and mucus that the creatures shed into their environment underwater. It is said that the 200 known species could rise to 6 to almost 800 using this new system. I kinda would love some more, but can't deny that these creatures look totally out of this world, so props to the Jellymans.
In our number 5 spot today, we have human mercury pollution. It was once believed that methyl mercury was mostly produced in the top few hundred meters of the ocean, which would have limited the mercury bioaccumulation because it was thought that the fish who make their home in the deep sea would have a very limited opportunity to ingest the methyl mercury. But a recent discovery has shown that this is just not true. According to 2 separate studies which were presented at the Goldschmidt Geochemistry Conference, there is clear evidence of the presence of both man-made and natural methyl mercury, which is quite toxic. This means that since this is spreading to the absolute depths of the Mariana Trench, the pollution is turning out to be much more widespread than what was once thought. They know that it is coming from the mercury in the upper ocean because of some sort of isotope evidence. The reason this discovery is important is because when mercury reaches the depths of the sea, it is turned into methyl mercury, the super toxic one, by tiny microbes. From there it gets eaten by small crustaceans, who then get eaten by fish, who then get eaten by bigger fish, and so on and so forth, and then it gets into our food web, which is dangerous for both humans and animals. It is unclear exactly what is going to happen with this information, but I guess it's good to have the whole picture in order to make the best, most educated decisions. In our number 3 spot today, we have ocean sediment. Okay. There's sediment in all of our oceans, so this one definitely doesn't seem like it should be on this list, but the Mariana Trench sediment is unique because of its extreme depth. While there are of course large fish who eat other fish, what do the small fish and living creatures who don't eat other fish eat? Since there's no plants, that is why researchers collected samples of the sediment that lays on the floor of the Mariana Trench, to see what it is made out of, to see what the heck these guys are eating. As it turns out, if the organisms aren't eating chemicals, they're eating the leftovers from the fish that live closer to the surface of the ocean. These leftovers float down to the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, which is referred to as sea snow, and that is what becomes the meal for the smallest creatures living in the trench. Kind of gross when you think about it, but I'm happy for them.
Coming in at number 2, we have scalding hot water. That's right, just like Katy Perry, the Mariana Trench is hot and cold. At the deepest spot on Earth, where basically no sunlight can get through, you would expect that the water was extremely cold, right? Wrong. Well, okay, maybe kind of right. The water usually stays between 34 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, but also wrong. The water at the bottom of the Mariana Trench can also get scalding hot. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, there are many different hydrothermal vents, and the water that erupts out of these vents can reach temperatures of 700 degrees Fahrenheit, which is enough to scald anyone swimming down there. But fortunately, the pressure is way too high for anyone to actually swim down there, so that won't be happening anytime soon. That being said, for those that decide to dive deep down there, make sure that the deep sea sub you're in is not only pressurized, but also has an AC, because you don't want to cook like a boiled lobster.
In our number 9 spot today, we have the fact that life exists. The first time anyone ever went on a deep dive into the Mariana Trench, no one was exactly expecting to find signs of life in the extreme environment of the deep sea. So it was quite a shock when they found out it was absolutely teeming with life. Because of the lack of sunlight, or really any light, in the Mariana Trench, you won't find any plant life or algae, but there are tons of living beings, from microorganisms to scary looking fish. All of the life in the trench has had to adapt in one way or another in order to live in this environment, whether that is naturally developing pressure-proof shells, or having insane eyesight that can catch even the faintest glimmer, or having other heightened senses that can help detect prey or predators. All of these special adaptations help us understand more about how life in the deep sea evolved, but some can even be used to help us advance scientifically and medically. It is no small feat to head down to the Mariana Trench, but the more we can discover down there, the better.
At number 8, we have Jupiter-like microbes. Say what? Back in 2012 during the Deep Sea Challenge expedition, researchers found these fuzzy mats of bacteria clinging to the rocks at the bottom of the trench. Usually one of the first things scientists look for in the harshest places on Earth are any signs of life possible. It helps them understand how life can be possible in parts of the world or even the universe that don't operate like Earth's habitable places. When scientists explored the Serena deep part of the trench with a robotic lander, they found evidence of a thriving microbial community down and around the deep sea rocks. These microbes appear to feed off of the chemicals produced with the sea when the sea floor rocks react with the water. Because they don't rely on the falling of the marine snow, it raises questions and possible hypotheses for scientists that maybe this is how some life forms exist in the farthest reach of our universe, such as Jupiter and Saturn's moons.
In our number 7 spot today we have the Daikoku seamount. This seamount is located within the Mariana Arc and was fairly recently found to be hydrothermally active. So basically it is a functioning underwater volcano, which is super cool. That is not even the cool and unexpected discovery I want to talk about today. During the submarine Ring of Fire expedition in 2006, it was realized that this seamount happens to also feature a pool of liquid sulfur. That might not seem like the most amazing thing, but it is definitely very cool. Firstly, the way it looks is absolutely insane because it has gases rising off of it which appear as smoke, but like smoke underwater. I don't know the science behind it, but all I know is that it looks like nothing I've ever seen before. The next reason why this is super cool is because of the fact that this is almost never seen here on Earth, and the only other time we found a comparable pool of sulfur to this one has been on Jupiter's moon Io.
At number 6 we have the Mariana snailfish. At 8,143 meters below the surface, scientists discovered a new kind of fish they call the Mariana snailfish. This is a white translucent fish that has broad wing-like fins and an eel-like tail and slowly glides near the bottom of the ocean floor. You can also see its liver from the outside of its body. Ew. While this is the deepest they have ever found an actual fish, researchers don't believe there is much more swimming below that. The amount of pressure is so high that they don't believe any fish is chemically able to withstand the destabilizing effects of its proteins at the depth. So the Mariana snailfish may just be the deepest dwelling fish on the entire planet, which I'm sure we are all hoping for some large, weird, space-looking like deep sea monster, but for now we will just have to settle for a snailfish. It's okay, little guy, I still love ya.
Number 8. Glass amoebas. In order to live that far down into the ocean, there are going to be 3 main things that you'll have to overcome: lack of light, freezing temperatures, and a lot of pressure. Therefore, intense survival skills are required. Scientists were shocked to find Foraminifera, a kind of amoeba, surviving down in Mariana's Trench, but with some alterations. This kind of organism is found all over the world, but usually they build hard shells for themselves out of calcium carbonate. Down in the trench, the intense pressures dissolve these minerals, leading them to instead build a kind of glass house. They have adapted to use proteins, organic polymers, and even sand, which is made from silicon dioxide, which forms a kind of pressure-proof glass shell. A specific kind of Foraminifera called xenophyphores have taken this one step further and glue sand, casts of shells, and microbial skeletons to their feces, which essentially makes a pressure-proof shell to live in. Gotta do what you gotta do. Number 7. The barrel-eye fish. This fish looks like Pixar teamed up with Tim Burton and made this fish up. It looks like an animation floating in the water. Nothing makes sense. Someone once said to me that if you've thought about it, chances are someone's done it or that it exists. I imagine that's untrue for most things, but I've definitely thought about what it could be like to have a see-through body, and this fish brought that thought to life, so who knows. The barrel-eye fish has a head that is entirely see-through. It was originally presumed that they only had tunnel vision because any specimens collected would die before they reached the surface and their head would collapse. But now scientists are able to confirm that they actually rotate their eyes to look up through a fluid-filled shield, which is their head, to check out prey above them. They also have fins specifically adapted to allow the creature to hover frozen in place. Their eyes are also designed to capture light just enough to see silhouettes of their prey, so they have really incredible eyes. Weird. They look so pretty though. I like them. Number 6. Benthocodone. The thing that fascinates me the most about the creatures in the Marianas Trench is their size and appearance. Why? The water pressure at the bottom of the trench is about 8 tons per square inch, about 60,000 pounds per square inch. You'd think to be able to stand that pressure you'd have to be like Godzilla or something, but that's not the case. It's close to the exact opposite. The benthochodon is a deep sea jelly that is entirely opaque and floats around in a deep red hue, pretty delicate and really small. The opaque bell serves as a way of hiding its food in case their bioluminescent lunch signals other predators. It has over 1,500 tentacles, and despite its little size and delicate flesh, it can survive the immense pressure of the deep. So figure that one out.
In our number 5 spot today we have the sponge. I don't know what it is about them, but sea sponges seriously gross me out. So, to my dismay, in 2015, deep sea researchers stumbled across an insanely huge sponge deep in the ocean. And when I say insanely huge, I'm talking about the biggest one we've ever found, the size of a van kind of huge. This thing looks like a huge brain and is approximately 11.5 feet long, 6.5 feet high, and almost 5 feet wide. Researchers explained that huge sponges like this one are integral to providing key ecosystem services like filtering a ton of seawater, as well as the fact that they act as a habitat for a ton of different invertebrate and microbial species. Sea sponges are apparently really difficult to date, but it is known that some can live as long as 2,300 years, which is insane. So I guess while they look ultra weird and really freak me out, they aren't all that bad and do some really important work. Just another case of not judging a book by its cover. In our number 4 spot today we have the Gran Rojo jellyfish. These guys were first discovered in the mid 1990s and weren't officially categorized as a new species until 2003. Not only did their discovery come with a new species classification, but also a new subfamily. The species was originally being called Big Ugly, which seems like an unnecessary roast, but after some time it was much more affectionately named Big Red. These guys are the largest of all sea jellies, growing to be around 76 centimeters in diameter. They have 4 to 7 fleshy arms rather than the tentacles we're used to seeing on jellies. While most jellies are transparent, these guys are red all over. Because of their deep sea habitat, there is still so much we don't know about them, and only 23 have ever been actually found and identified. So while the research is currently lacking, scientists are doing their best to get us some more answers on these big red jellyfish. In our number 1 spot today we have the ghost fish. Okay, well of course I had to end off today's list with just one more deep sea ghostly creature, and this one is actually super cool. This little ghost fish was caught on camera in 2016 as it was casually swimming along a ridge around 8,202 feet or 2,500 meters deep in the ocean. The fish is around 10 centimeters long and has translucent, scaleless skin and the creepiest, colorless eyes on any fish I've ever seen. Here's the craziest thing about this whole ordeal though. This was the first time a live fish from its family has ever been seen before. This little fish swimming along, minding his own business, has absolutely no idea that he was a huge discovery for the human scientists on land. There is still so much that is left a mystery about these guys, but any kind of new discovery is most definitely always a step in the right direction. In our number 9 spot today we have the glowing jellyfish. Okay, we've all seen or at least heard of a jellyfish before, so it's not the most unusual discovery, but this fancy glowing one is definitely not your average run-of-the-mill kind of jellyfish. In 2016, scientists were surveying the waters near the Mariana Trench when they saw what looked like a glowing flying saucer, but as it turns out, it was just this new undiscovered jellyfish splayed out with its tentacles ready to catch some unsuspecting prey. Inside the bell of this jelly you can see some bright yellow bulb-like lights and some bright red markings as well. The jellyfish also has 2 kinds of tentacles, one short and one long. No description of this guy would truly do it justice, so here's a quick video just for reference. In our number 4 spot today we have the ping pong tree sponge. Doesn't this name sound so cute and sweet, like something you'd want as a little pet?
Well, think again.
These little things are not what their sweet name would suggest. The name of course comes from their appearance, as they quite literally look like a little tree that's growing ping pong balls, but those little ping pong balls are where it all starts. The ping pongs have tiny little hook-like extensions that are there to trap any kind of prey that gets too close. From there, the sponge slowly consumes its prey while still alive. This may not be the most vicious creature in all of the deep sea, but it is proof that looks can be very deceiving. Would you have thought that this little thing would be a carnivorous creature? It honestly was a little surprising to me personally.
Starting us off in our top 3, at number 3 we have the goblin shark. This shark might just be the creepiest thing on this list. I don't know about you, Olivia, but how did these guys get their names? Well, let's all take a look at the massive goblin-like nose on the front of its face. Yeah, that's how it's got its name. That's how it got its name. It's not really a pretty thing to look at, but at these depths I don't think there's many people or other fish to impress. These sharks also aren't the usual grayish color. They are instead more of a pink. Not only do these things look absolutely crazy, they are also crazy in size. Goblin sharks can reach lengths up to 18 feet. That's 5.5 meters. You probably won't be swimming near any of them anytime soon anyway though, because they live at depths of 3,000 feet. That's about 915 meters, and the older they get, the deeper they dive. A shark that intentionally swims to its grave. How cute. Same as the frilled shark, not much is known about these creatures. They're almost as mysterious and sought after as real goblins. For all we know, goblins are real, and when they get dropped in water, they morph into these crazy looking sharks and keep their distance from the rest of the world. I buy it.
In our number 2 spot today, we have the deep sea dragonfish. These guys are a pretty strong contender for the strangest looking animal on this list. These predatory fish use their fang-like teeth to grab onto their prey in the dark, cold, deep sea environment. They have no scales and instead have slippery eel-like skin, which only adds to their creepiness level. Similar to the anglerfish, these guys have a little lighted barbel that hangs from its lower jaw to attract its prey towards it. These fish really use bioluminescence to their advantage, but they also have another, less common ability. Firstly, since many of their prey are also bioluminescent, they have a special stomach that will ensure the light cannot be seen from inside of their stomach so as to not give away their position. Secondly, they are able to produce a red glow. This glow is thought to perhaps be used to signal other dragonfish, but it is definitely used by them to illuminate and detect their prey. They are the only known fish that has the ability to both produce and see red light, as most fish can only see more of a blue light. So while these guys are definitely very creepy to look at, they're also pretty interesting and very talented.
And finally, coming in at our number 1 spot and our weirdest thing found in the Mariana Trench is the zombie worm, aka the bone worm, also known as the Osidax. But I like zombie worm best. These worms live at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench and the very bottom of the ocean and feed off of bones of dead animals, such as whales. The zombie worm secretes acid to help access the inner contents of the dead bones, and it then uses symbiotic bacteria to convert the bone's proteins and fats into nutrients that it then uses as food. The feathery branches on the worm wiggle in the water and they pull in oxygen to keep itself alive. Females grow up to 2 inches in length while males are microscopic in size. Sorry boys. Females will collect a harem of males on their body, and then the males will find their way into the female oviducts. The female then releases her fertilized eggs into the water and the worm's life cycle begins again. That is about all we know about these little ones because they live at such deep depths of our ocean. So until us humans find ways to explore the depths of the Mariana Trench, we'll just have to make do with what we got.